transfer portal has certainly changed football, but it's also lessened the importance of high school recruiting. Saw an interesting stat this week from The Athletic. If you take the top 100 ranked players from 24/7 Sports the last 2 years, so the top 100 2 years ago, the top 100 last year in terms of recruiting classes, 56 players from those top 100s have already transferred. In other words, 28% of the guys who sign out of those top 100 players, the blue chips that everybody's dying for, oh, whose hat's he going to pick? 28% of those guys are gone in 2 years. Another poll this week showed that people aren't paying as much attention to recruiting. They're paying more attention to the portal. So my question is, how much has the importance of high school recruiting been impacted? Some of you can, well, I'm just going to shut up. Go. What do you think?
I think it still matters greatly, because if you look at who actually wins championships, they are teams that don't do a lot in the transfer portal. Look at the teams that don't. They do a lot of things in the transfer portal. Ole Miss, people like that. Louisville did a solid job, and they had a lot of kids come from the transfer portal. That's just not what's winning football yet in college. So I think it still matters, but I think that maybe even it matters more because you have to recruit over the kids that you have, because 1 in 4 at best are probably going to transfer somewhere else.
We got to speed it up. Go.
I'm going to go, if it used to be 100% of the game, recruiting now is probably 85% of the game, and trending downward. But I still think it's very, very important.
To build the base,
yes.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to sustain the success, and that's the key. You have to have the high school as your base, and then the accent of the transfer portal. It clips a lot of kids that don't get signed, but you better hit a higher percentage of it to have that base, so that adds the value of it with those guys.
I'm the only one here who's allowed to cavalierize his own question. And I will simply say it's different program to program. Obviously, it's impacted the high school recruiting huge if you're Ole Miss. But they don't need it. They're just constantly living in the portal. I do think, though, that it's a bigger switch than I ever anticipated. For years, I thought these kids deserve a chance to make up their own minds and leave, and now they've got it to where, you're standing on the sideline, your team's behind, it's halftime. I'm going over there. I'm transferring to the other team at halftime. I just think that it's too much, and when you get 56 out of the top 200 players over a 2-year span, I just don't see how that's sustainable. I don't think a program like Ole Miss, and kudos to Kiffin, who we may mention in the next segment. Kudos to Kiffin in doing it as well as he has so far. I just don't think it's sustainable. Sooner or later, you're going to have the wrong guys coming. You're going to have what happened at Arkansas in basketball this past year, when the chemistry all goes sideways and the team goes to hell and the coach gets smoked.
Well, it happened at A&M 2 years ago.
Yes, it did. Great
and
point.
Last year.
All right. When we come back, will the Vols beat Evansville? Come on back. You can watch Vince predict the Purple Aces to be victorious, I'm sure. We'll ask everybody who's going to win. We'll also talk about Florida State, who Tennessee would play in Omaha in their first game. And we told you this was coming last week. The NCAA okayed it this week. Let's talk about logos on fields. Lane Kiffin did. So we'll tell you what he said about Tennessee's logo on a field. Come on back.